Hello, everyone. Huge apologies. My name's Clive. I'm part of the Pro Copywriters team, and I'm here to sort of meet our guest today. We have a bit of a mix-up that we've just encountered with a couple of different links. So if you've been waiting for me to arrive, for our guest Mariann to arrive today, huge apologies. I hope you had time to grab a cup of coffee and get set. But here we are. Thank you for joining us. A little later than planned, but welcome to the latest of our Ask the Copywriter sessions. If you've attended any of our previous sessions, you'll know the drill. It's really an opportunity to meet the members of the community, the members of Pro Copywriters, to find out more about what they do, with a whole load of different copywriters working within our community, working on different kinds of projects with different kinds of clients in different kinds of way. And today we get a chance to meet another one of them. Our guest today is Mariann Makrai. Hello, Mariann.
Hello, everyone. Sorry for the delay.
Apologies. Now, Mariann, tell us where you are calling in from today.
I'm calling from Zagreb, from Croatia, and before going on live, we just talked, and I was very interested to find out if Pro Copywriters had any, non-Brits and non-English. So this is maybe an information that we're going to find out very soon. I mean, I would certainly like to know. And I'm very much thrilled to be a part of your group for the second year, I think.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I don't know if anyone else knows. If Leaf knows, perhaps. How international are we as a group? How many different nationalities are represented within the Pro Copywriters community? It's something I'm not entirely sure about. Now, Mariann, tell us a little about the kind of work you do. What characterises your work as a copywriter?
Well, I would say I wouldn't say that I'm fresh in this trade or this branch of business. I finished graduated as a professor of English and German. My mother tongue is Hungarian, and I live in Croatia, so it's really a mix-up. and I've been doing copywriting more or less. I mean, if you're writing for yourself, this is also some kind of copywriting too, but in order to sell something, of course, but for your own needs. And this is what I've been doing since 2019, even pre-COVID, when I started to self-publish something. But okay, this is not such a copywriting in that sense that we know, but I did some projects of my own. I'm also into photography, so I linked writing with photography, and then I finished during COVID an online. Everything was online then, and I finished a course lasting for 4 or 5 months. It's the London Public School of Relations. I don't know if it's an institution, big institution, and where you are, I mean, it was founded in, I think, in London. Not sure, and then it branched out to certain areas, like Eastern Balkan countries too, and this is where I done my social media management course, and then copywriting was also within that module, within a module, and also I've been very active on LinkedIn. But your question about copywriting, I'm more or less, let's say, 2 years, if we are thinking about copywriting in strict terms. Sure. Been doing projects with clients who want to reach foreign markets, and also currently I also have some copywriting tasks or projects.
So it sounds like perhaps many of us, you arrived at copywriting via a circuitous route through different ideas, different communications type roles, and you found yourself in a position where you could offer your services as a copywriter. And then you mentioned there your particular specialism is for clients who are trying to reach foreign language markets. Okay,
yes,
so that
most familiar with the Croatian market. So if anyone, those of you who are maybe listening to this, would like to know more or would like to maybe monetize or reach Croatian markets, I can help you if you'd like to be more visible. And also on LinkedIn terms, because I'm very active on the LinkedIn, and I also published a small booklet, let's say, on Gumroad, which you can download on Gumroad. It's on how to be more visible and acquire more reach via LinkedIn, and it's in English. So LinkedIn has brought me as actually a great platform for copywriters and translators too. And I'm also doing a course in July for copywriters and translators wanting to, gain more visibility on LinkedIn. So
what are the languages then in which you operate? Clearly English, Croatian. What else do you work with?
Hungarian. Hungarian is my mother tongue. The problem with Hungarian is that when I was a small kid, child, with 6 years, as a 6-year-old, I came to Croatia with the whole family, and there was 1 year in the kindergarten or nursery that I dropped out, so I didn't go into, and then I actually dived, or let's say, came to school without knowing any Croatian. My first class. That's I don't remember how it was. It's how it was. It's distant memory to me, but it was a really great shock. A shock for me, knowing no language and then working up myself, to acquire the new language. Croatian was my first foreign language. Then came English very quickly. So it was in the 3rd grade, I think. In Croatia, but now it's actually with the 1st grade that you're also learning English in Croatia. So that developed. And then 2 years after that, German. So, and it was pretty, in the school. And then I also acquired some other foreign languages, but I do not speak them very well. So these 4 remain the main languages.
And what sort of clients come to you for your help? Well, what sort of industries, what sort of sectors do you find yourself working in?
It's an interesting thing, because it's nothing that I sought or looked for. They looked me up, and they contacted me because of my activities on LinkedIn, and they see that I'm very much socially engaged, and I'm also helping out startups too. So I'm also donating. That part of my business is also something that I emphasize, this donating part, and they know me by that. That I like to. I'm not lavishly, donating how much I can per month. If the earnings
offering some of your time free of charge. You mean?
No, donating a sum of money, to a cause at the moment, which is really an urgent cause and a good cause. In Croatia, that was in 2020, the earthquake, a huge earthquake, 5.5, and it damaged a lot of buildings in Zagreb, and also south of Zagreb. There is a whole community living in containers.
Okay.
So I wasn't actively involved, that I went there to that region and helped people, but I donated funds how much I could, and also helped certain. I was also, as a photographer, also I'm a member of a photo club, and that photo club is the oldest photo club in Southeast Europe, and it was devastated. It was totally demolished, and I helped with my funds, of course. We helped it restore again. So it was small work, but we did as a group something good for the community too, for the creative community there.
So I'd like to understand a little more about the nature of your work and your clients, and how you work with them. Do you generally find people are coming to you with a fully formed set, a fully formed product, or a fully formed range of copy in one language, and they say to you, "Oh, please just translate this"? Or are they coming to you with a blank sheet of paper saying, "How can we talk to this particular market"? How does it work?
I always appreciate it when the client already has some kind of a layout, and mostly they come with the website already in a language, which I have to then translate and do copywriting too, and sometimes localization because of the market. And
So
currently,
most of your clients are already operating in a particular market with one set of copy, and they're looking to you to expand that.
Yes, mostly yes. But there are newcomers like startups. Then it's from ground up. How you say it? Startups have a different kind of situation. But I work with already established companies who would like to enter new markets, foreign language. And then I have to translate their website content, also do some copywriting, but sometimes because we have to fill the website with blogs, then it also it means then content and copywriting too. So at the moment, okay, I did two such projects, and I've written about it in my LinkedIn article today. Actually, it was titled "All the Good Clients of Last Year." So and one was particularly interesting, a CRM system, customer relationship management system. Is it client relationship or client relation? CRM stands for that. If
customer
you know,
relationship, yeah, customer. Yeah.
Customer, yeah, and it's a Hungarian-based company, and they work with opticians, optometrics, and so on. And that was a totally new industry for me, new branch, because I wear glasses and so on. That this helps me a lot to understand these things, because I also do checkups. So it's something. This subject was not so unfamiliar, because I was also, having problems with my eyesight. And this firm has a CRM system, so software, which helps optic retailers, maintain the relationship with the clients. They also target clients with their newsletters or some messages, and they keep count of their clients in databases. Then there's a shop also there. Stores, they say where the warehouse is also all in the system. So and the shops are also interconnected. So these are not just one shops. There are chains of shops. I mean, could be linked in that with that platform. So when I had to localize it or translate it into Croatian, they wanted to enter the Croatian market.
So they were originally in Hungarian, you say, and
yes.
they were. Now, tell us about that task. Tell us about how you go about that. Is it a simple matter of just taking what is said and translating it, or are there other things you have to bear in mind? Talk us through a little bit about how you go about a task like that.
One good thing was that the customer also had it in English. Sometimes having another set of languages that I'm familiar with can help with the translation. Okay, we're not talking actually now about copywriting, but more about transferring. Copywriting is then creating content for sales, more sales. So this was more for introducing the product itself. So that's right. The translation was for introducing the product. This copywriting is I was more in this more translation than copywriting, I would say. But still, they had their own system, translation management system, which I got familiar with. So they educated me in how to enter the words. They already had the Croatian, the Hungarian, and the English words there, and I had to link them with the Croatian counterparts.
Right. So you mentioned a system there. Those of us who aren't familiar with working in multiple languages will obviously be aware that there's various sort of systems and software and web functions where wording will be translated. How accurate, how trustworthy, how much can we rely on those sort of tools in order to get things in multiple languages?
These tools are pretty good. I mean, I'm not someone who likes to do with these CAT. These are CAT tools, which are tools for translators. Not like DeepL, let's say, or the Google Translate, which are absolutely not to be counted on.
Right.
So these are enhanced and better softwares or these platforms, and it's always good. I mean, to have such platforms, because you know on which stage you are. It's always counting it. It counts it in percentages of if I'm 50% of the project has been done. You always have these numbers there standing, so you know how you're getting on with the project, and also you can pinpoint words which you are not clear with, and they offer you also already solutions which you've entered before, so it has a good memory, and there you have you don't have to look up now, what should I use for this word, will this work or this one. It's already entered into the database because I already translated it, so then I look it up again, will this fit this context, or should I have to look for another word which will be better in this occasion, whether maybe sometimes it even makes nonsense if a word means more, if the word has more than one meaning.
So it sounds like there's a combination going on then of some technology that's perhaps better than the Google Translate that a lot of us are used to, but also your human judgment, your expertise as a writer, as a linguist, to work together with the technology. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, you can count on, you can rely maybe on Google Translate if that's, I mean, that's a question on whether if it's a technical text, maybe medicinal text too. It's pretty accurate. But when you here, it depends actually the customer on which kind, where this customer comes from, what kind of branch. Even banks. I mean, if it's something financial, okay, I would say Google Translate could be also a good source, but not 100%. You cannot rely, maybe 70%, and then look up. Either even dictionaries, even paper dictionaries are still good to be, used. I even resort to, specialized dictionaries, which are always important to have around.
Now, something I really wanted to ask you about, it's a term I've heard people mention at conferences and read about online a little bit, is this idea of the difference between translation and localization. The idea that, are you looking to just mirror the same words and the same copy in another language, or are you creating something which is more suited to a different market? Could you tell us a bit about that and how you see that?
Yeah, this could be more, we will be nearing copywriting here in a bit. Sometimes even you can add something extra to that source language in order to make it more appealing and interesting for the end market. In localization, you always have to look at you have to be familiar actually with the text and with the report, with the register that certain market uses. So you've got to be familiarized with the marketing, ads too. You have to know their lingo too. So you must be residing in, I mean, living in that culture very much. You should have connection with these materials. You cannot live remotely from that, culture.
Are there certain ideas or certain concepts that you find will be understood and accepted in one culture, but then in a different culture with a different language, that same idea, that same approach just wouldn't work?
Yeah, I mean, that's how cultures are differing, and it's the charm, let's say, of the cultures, that they are so different. But sometimes it's dangerous if you're not acquainted or do not know them, and you enter into mistakes. You make mistakes which you are unwillingly do, unaware. You're not unaware of these things. And then, of course, you must excuse yourself. I'm sorry, I'm not, living here for this. That you're not familiar with these things, and then they won't mind. I mean, they shouldn't.
Do you have
mind.
an example of that? Are there any particular instances that you can tell us about where a particular idea in one country just doesn't figure in another?
It would be good to show it on an example, maybe. In these shows that you are doing, I've seen that you're not actually showing any examples. Sometimes it's good, to have examples around, and to show it to the viewers also to see the changes within the text, what's happening.
We could share screens if you want to show us anything.
I mean, I'm working on something, but it's not. But it's not so. Not grave mistakes. You won't do grave mistakes if you translate something literally, even. So you wouldn't make. So if I could have, prepared, maybe if you would have said, maybe, to show.
No problem.
Maybe I can show afterwards, even in an article, if you'd like.
I just wondered if that was a mistake that is often made. Do you find that some brands, possibly people who you don't work with, but do you observe sometimes that brands might take the wrong approach to internationalism? They may not fully appreciate how important it is to get it right.
Yeah, sometimes phrases. When we're talking about in English, these are the so-called 2-3 part, these syntactically how they are actually called, these phrasal verbs, which are very, I mean, English, it's very hard for us non-English to learn them and then to know what they actually mean. So these phrasal verbs are not the sum of the meaning of each word. They are completely different. So go into or go over. It's not a go over, stepping over, jumping over something. You go over, you investigate, or how would you say it? In other words, go over, and then you have to plant it into the other language, and you cannot translate it literally. And if you want to be funny, even when you want to be funny, you use sometimes these phrasal verbs or slang, and of course then you have to look different. These adequate words in the target language. So
yeah, humor something that you find varies very much between the languages in which you work?
I mean, humor is a very difficult item to translate.
It's difficult in one language, isn't it? Let alone multiple. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have, and also it helps if you are also a person who has humor.
Right.
If you're not humorous, then you have to acquire that. I mean, acquire and really read and really research, go into all these nuances, all these languages separately, and then link them. Yes, this will go with this. Yes, this corresponds to this one. And it helps, even if you're a humorous person, and sometimes you really have a good points, even if you cannot translate it with the same visuals like in English. You have some different visuals, different kind of objects. Even there are some maybe objects in that, within that picture, if you want to, within an idea. You can then you should search it. You search it up in the end, language in Croatian or whatever. So you really have to be like a detective, something detective,
Right.
Detective. And if you have it, that's okay. If you have good memory too. You have to be humorous. You have really have a good memory, and you also have to be like a sponge. You soak everything up that you hear in the environment, because the language constantly changes, and it's always good if you get outside at least once or twice a week and really be inside a tram or cab, and converse with them, speak and talk with these people, and to soak up their lingo, and then it's
There's a couple of questions I wanted to ask you, but everyone else listening in, do feel free to pitch in with your questions. Either put your hand up or mention something in chat, and I'd love to hear any questions that anyone else has for Mariann. I think a question I wanted to ask was, aside from the actual sort of work task of internationalizing things, of creating copy in another language, as someone who speaks multiple languages, do you think that helps you in the way that you write? Do you think, what are the advantages, as far as you see it, in knowing multiple languages for all of us, even if we're just writing in English? Does having multiple languages at your disposal in your brain help in some way?
Again, if at the start you really have to systematize things, you really have to keep. How should I say? It's it's advantageous to know a lot of these languages, but these you always have this picture of a clown juggling with balls, you know, and one time or one or two balls will fall, and then you have to pick them up and then start all over. And you have to, you know, keep a balance between them. If you are good at English, sometimes the German level of German will suffer, or you have to keep all these 4 or 3 afloat really approximately at the same level, which is impossible. In one language you will excel. You would say, if you have 4, well, I'm best at, let's say, maybe Croatian, because I live in Croatia and it's logical. And then but it's strange because Croatian is my first foreign language, you know. It's not my mother tongue. Unfortunately, I should have been actually a subject within a research some kind, because I was on a postgraduate study in Hungary for the linguistical study, and a professor was very interested to test me in a way. It's very important how these languages come, you know. Mother tongue, I was, you know, Hungarian was for 5 or 6 years. It's actually not active. I mean, at that stage, you're too little actually to be aware of the linguistic system. I mean, of the language. And then comes Croatian. You hear Croatian, you're in this environment, you know nothing of Croatian, and you have to learn it as quick as possible, because you're in the school, and you really have to perform. My parents were such, you know, you have to really perform at school, and then in a year or two comes another language, and how you grapple with all this, you know. You have enough time for the mother language to develop itself. My mother tongue actually didn't develop fully because of my 6th year. Then it was, you know, cut off, because we as a family went to Croatia. And I mean, I'm thinking like that, you know, some it's deep, like deep thoughts. The problem is that these languages came too quickly, these foreign languages, and my mother tongue suffers now a lot. Although I'm trying to translate into Hungarian, and I really take on some copywriting things too in Hungarian, but then I'm prompted actually to have it corrected by real Hungarians. I mean, with the Hungarian, it's most troublesome, because I'm not living there, and in my teenage years, I didn't have my teenage years in Hungary. So, and it's then when the slang, sometimes when you pick up more slang, sometimes, you know, and this nuances of languages, and then it consolidifies, or, you know, strengthens, your vocabulary strengthens then, and your memory is more sharper till the age of, they say, I think till the age of 16, 17, and then with the age of 20 and 5, it declines. Your memory starts, you know, declining. And I'm still in Croatia. So Croatian is my prominent language, best. And then I would say English, and you know, and all the others then.
Say people listening to this are speak English, they work in English. Are there any advantages to learning a second language that you think help you more generally with your work, with your use of language? Would you advise people to learn an additional language, even if they're not going to use it professionally? Do you think it helps us in some way?
Of course. I mean, you think second language as a first foreign. I mean, it's the only foreign. If you're picking up, it's good if you pick up a language which is not so similar to yours. So your English, German, Germanic languages, and Dutch. I had problems with Dutch because I learned also some Dutch, and I had problems because of these similar, you know, words. The Dutch has similar words, but the pronunciation is so difficult. and with these sounds and so on. So I even learned some Welsh, but we are actually talking about more linguistic now than copywriting. But learning another, just one language is okay, but wait with another one. So try to be good at this one foreign language for at least, and start to be consistent and read this language for at least 3, 4, 5 years, and then move on to another one. Don't jump quickly into the next one.
I see.
You got to be,
Get solid, get cemented in the skills in one. And we've got a question here from Jessica. Jessica Barton is asking, what's your advice on starting to post on LinkedIn? You mentioned LinkedIn. I know you're a keen LinkedIn user. What's your advice on starting to post on LinkedIn in terms of topic ideas and how to overcome the fear of looking stupid, asks Jessica. What's your advice to budding LinkedIn posters?
Just look stupid. That's the best advice. I mean, look stupid, so what? Why not? I mean, I really am tired of these posts starting off. I don't know what to post. Gosh, be sincere. I mean, and the best way to be is to be sincere and start spontaneously. Whatever comes to your mind, but think that LinkedIn is, not like Facebook, and also not like TikTok or Instagram. So keep it a bit, professional, but you can also add some personal details to make your brand, if you want to make a brand, and to be more authentic and individual. And you also have to show behind the scenes things that you do along the way, along copywriting, and how you do it. Maybe you can start by why you love copywriting, why you entered it, and what do you want to do. This is a very simple idea.
Right, but it sounds like you're saying don't overthink it. Be candid, be honest, be open, and just aim it at your audience, as copywriters do, I suppose.
And also maybe if you have, everybody has the mobile phones, and like these are like dictaphones. You talk with it, start a podcast, ramble a bit, a minute or two, if you really like. If you're at a if you feel like you want to share something with someone, but that someone is not there, speak to the phone, and then listen to it, and then maybe make a post out of it.
That's probably quite a good technique for writing in general, isn't it? Ramble away into a dictaphone as if there's someone with you who isn't, and then see what emerges. We did start a bit late. Apologies for that, folks. So we might finish a bit late if people are up for staying around for a few more minutes. I've got another couple of things I might want to ask, but questions are in chat. Just shout if you'd like to ask something, and we'll absolutely put that to Mariann. The question I wanted to ask Mariann was sort of moving back to the business and work side of it, I suppose. What advice would you have for anyone who finds themselves in a situation with a client, and the client says, oh, we're going to have to start working in a different language, we're going to have to start internationalizing? If that's a very beginning step for people, and they haven't worked in that sort of way before, they don't know which experts to reach for, which tools to reach for. If someone's in a conversation with their client about how they start going into different languages, what are the most important things they need to know initially?
First, I mean, if they want to maybe translate it into another, if they want to reach out to someone who knows that language, or in what stage? I mean, what stage, when somebody has an idea already and wants to breach it and wants to share it with.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, for those of us who are maybe having client meetings, and the idea of internationalizing and working in multiple languages might come up, and we might need to reach for an expert like yourself, or an expert in other languages, and the whole idea of how to go about that task of internationalizing copy, and how to ensure that we've got multiple markets and multiple languages covered. Do you have any just sort of starting advice for people working in that situation, and how they should approach it?
There are always platforms like yours, which the copywriters in England or in the UK. There are also other copywriting associations in other countries too. You can look them up and start a connection, start a relationship with them. And you also got these conferences, and you also can read on LinkedIn people from the area that you were in, but in other countries. I'm also, very much connected with other people in the whole world. I have actually not no special numbers, concrete numbers, but about 200 contacts in Germany, Austria, Hungary. So you should really collect them. So
Sure.
look up, browse the branches or sections that you're interested in, and look at the locations on LinkedIn, and connect with those people and reach out and talk, or just write messages, messages that you are interested in doing that. Nothing salesy, just say that you want to, could you help me, and so on.
Sure. So the better your networks, the more contacts you naturally have across different language cultures. You can more easily reach out to people and begin to work out how you're gonna
Sure. As a copywriter, you should not just be isolated in the English world. You should look what others are doing. There are international conferences, yes. In maybe in Spain, I don't know, but in Australia, Kate Toon, know her. I'm also following her, and I wanted to ask her to in my live sessions. I've got a podcast, and she was very busy. So you really have to extend your reach. It's something that you do without your own. This is your initiative, or you entrust this task to someone who really has, satellite antennas everywhere.
Sure.
And like me, I like to get into different kind of territories, and I do that for my clients too. Even do things which they do not ask me, but I think that it's beneficial for them. So this is the service which I do for my clients. That it isn't going out of my way. I would say this is something that I would like to enrich my clients with some different kind of approach, and get them to information that they maybe not need now, but they will need later. So this is something that I do constantly.
Building the value in those relationships. And we've got time for one last question before we say goodbye. And that question is coming from Matt Kenny. Matt's asking, could you speak about your approach to business development? So we know that you're a fan of LinkedIn. Do you do all your outreach on LinkedIn, or are there other platforms and strategies that have worked well for you?
Well, there is really rarely any kind of platform that is not so that I don't know, because this is it. As a self-entrepreneur, you really have to be visible and be on different kind of places. Business development. LinkedIn is, of course, not my primary source, because I reach out to clients very often.
Okay.
Sometimes it's me that I'm reaching out. So in my case, these reaching outs were pretty productive. They were pretty good. Many copywriters do, excel because they're starting off already with a set of people or network which they are very good they are familiar with, and then they recommend each other. That's not the case with me, because I tend to see myself, more as an individual, but like to network with people. Yes, so networking is a very important ingredient in this, extending your network. LinkedIn too. So even you started doing Instagram, which is also good for copywriters. Starting to be good, I think, in my case, although it differs from market to market. In Croatia, Instagram is pretty strong for certain types of industries, but for photography especially, but not for maybe copywriting in Croatia. No,
how do you use Instagram from this perspective, in terms of your business development, your outreach? How do you use Instagram in that context?
I'm a large fan of videos, which I do on LinkedIn. But if you're posting videos, you should of course try to do it not that often. because of the algorithm, and because then the feed will be swamped, or how should I say, you should do it on intervals, maybe every second day, because video is not so good for LinkedIn, but it starts to develop itself. I see there is a positive development in Instagram videos. Yes, reels, of course, do reels, and I do these short ones, 1 minute ones, or 30 seconds ones, where you barely can say an idea. I mean, these are performing best. I mean, in terms of reach, yes.
And what sort of content? What's the content of these videos?
For example, I always tell what happened to me, what positive things on LinkedIn, and then I attach a small not suggestion, like a small, saying it like a guide, a small, how should I say, counts? No. It's now comes German into my head.
Okay.
Rat. That's auf Deutsch. Rat. That's like advice, yes.
Right.
So advice.
Sure.
Small pieces of advice that fit into 1 minute. Two would be too long, but 1 minute. And then people are really interested in that reach. And of course, hashtags in English, if you want to reach English. Hashtags in English, because I combine them with English and Croatian because of the market that I'm in. So
yeah, that's a good point, remembering the languages within your hashtags. Mariann, if people want to know more about you and your work, how best can they find you, reach you? LinkedIn, I imagine, and your website?
Yeah. I mean, LinkedIn, if you just type in my name, you will get a lot of things that you can read about. But actually on Instagram, it's also my name. So Mariann.Makrai, Makrai or Makrai. So Makrai is Hungarian, Makrai is Croatian, and Makrai, like Scottish, like it's like English, okay? But they can look me up on Instagram, and I have got my company page is Tralangia or Tralangia, however you call it. So Tralangia is my company page on LinkedIn. There you can find some case studies, so stories about working with clients.
And excellent. Of course, people can also find you through your listing on Pro Copywriters.
The listing genau, we are talking English, German, genau, that's right.
Sure. Mariann, thank you so much for your time this lunchtime. I really appreciate it. You've I think, helped us explore a little bit about an area of this field of work that many of us don't know about, what it's like to work in different languages, how that is achieved, the traps that people fall into, and the benefits of having access to multiple languages. So thank you. If you do want to know more about Mariann's work, then do check her out via either LinkedIn or Pro Copywriter's site. There'll be more Ask the Copywriter sessions coming over the next few weeks and months, so do just watch either the Pro Copywriter site or Twitter or LinkedIn, and of course we'll let you know more about what is coming your way. But for the meantime, thank you so much to Mariann and everyone else who's attended and come along to listen and ask questions this lunchtime. Enjoy the rest of your days, folks.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.